Hey y'all, it's Taylor. Welcome back to my channel. It's been a hot minute, so I figured I would jump on here, give you a little bit of an update of cosmetology school, and also share with you some of my top tips for getting through cosmetology school, and also some things that I've learned along the way. I had full intention of giving you a week by week, month by month vlog of cosmetology, sharing with you videos of my day-to-day life, and saying that cosmetology school is exhausting and a full responsibility in itself is an understatement. I am so sorry for overpromising and under-delivering with my videos. I know that some of you were super eager to watch my journey, and I apologize for not delivering that. I guess my only excuse is that I was in over my head whenever I finally understood the time, effort, and energy that is required of you to go to cosmetology school. It is a full-time job. I also hold another job on top of it, and I work weekends, so it's been exhausting. So I've not been able to film and much less edit the videos to upload, but I do have some time off this week since it is my spring break. So I figured I would get on here, finally do an update video, and like I said, share some of those tips. So once again, I'm sorry, but I do hope you enjoy the video. So one thing that I think is the most important thing about cosmetology school is attendance. And I know there are going to be some eye rolls and some, yeah, okay, whatever, I can make it up. It is not like your typical college. Cosmetology school is based off of time and clocked in hours. So it is an hour program. It is not a 3 days a week thing, and if you miss a day, you can just make up the work. If you miss a day, which is 8 hours of cosmetology, you have to make up those 8 hours, even if the absence was excused. So you only have so many hours a week, so many hours a month, and so many hours in the entire year that you are actually allowed to miss. Our program, there was about 24 hours of leeway for us, which is not a lot. Y'all, that's 3 days. 3. So if you miss more than 3 days and you did not... Ollie's trying to get in. So if you miss more than 3 days and you do not make up those hours, you're not going to have the entire 1,500 hours required for you to graduate cosmetology school and take your test to get your license. This is how important attendance is. Another thing is cosmetology school goes by very, very fast. I'm sorry, I mean the curriculum goes by very, very fast. We only spent 1 day learning facials. We did a couple days in class learning the theory, and then we had 1 day where we got out the tables and we actually were able to do facials on each other. That was 1 day. If you missed that day, you missed the entire learning process of a facial. We only did hair learning as a class haircuts 2 days out of the entire year. So if you missed that important day of haircutting, you missed the entire course of learning how to do a basic haircut. If you were to try to learn again, you'd have to get the instructor to come by yourself. They would pretty much just run through it because every single day you're learning something different. They really don't have the time to say, okay class, I know we were going to practice perms today, but I have to take 3 hours out of that to be able to teach Susie how to cut hair because she missed. And we have one instructor. It's really not possible. So attendance is single-handedly the most important thing in cosmetology school, and I know you're tired and I know things happen, but if I can give you one word of advice if you're starting cosmetology school, is do not miss. do not miss. And like I said, there's going to be instances where you absolutely have to and life happens, but if you can save those days for the times where life absolutely happens and you have to miss, save those days. Don't miss because you don't feel like going. Don't miss because you say, you know what, I have a doctor's appointment at 2 o'clock, so I'm just going to miss the entire day. No, go to school from 8 o'clock to 1:30, leave, go to your doctor's appointment, and if you can get back in time, go back to school and clock back in. It is that important. Another tip I have for you in cosmetology school is to give your 100% in everything that you do. I try to do this every single day that I am there. I treat it as if I am, even if I'm on a mannequin, I try to treat it as if I am working on a human being. And even when we do have clients come in, I treat them as if this is the real world. I'm getting paid for it. This is my job. And this is your time to learn, to make mistakes, and to learn from those mistakes. When your client walks in, they have to sign an agreement in a liability form stating that they're aware that you're a student and that your work has to be guided and checked off by the instructor, and they cannot leave without that. They are going into it knowing the risk that you're a student and mistakes can happen. So this is a lot different than if you were in a salon. Even though you're in a salon and you're a new stylist, people and clients really don't understand how hard cosmetology actually is. I never appreciated it. I never understood it until I got in school. So I have an idea that clients in the real world, if I'm working in a salon, they're gonna assume that I am a professional. I know exactly what I'm doing. I'm not gonna make mistakes. And if you make these mistakes on paying clients who assume that you're not going to make mistakes, it's going to be a lot more difficult to kind of work your way through that. Now, I know you're going to make mistakes in the real world. Stuff is going to happen. You're going to disappoint clients. Clients are going to fire you, essentially, and never come back. And you may even have a client in the real world that says, goes around town and says, she screwed up my hair, she's a horrible stylist, never go to her. It's gonna happen, it's inevitable. But as of right now, when you're in school, do not be afraid to make those mistakes. I'm not saying intentionally make them. I'm saying don't be afraid to put yourself out there, try a different technique, find something on YouTube or Pinterest, or, you know, if somebody messages you and says, hey, I would really like a balayage, even though you really didn't learn balayage in school, learn some techniques, ask your instructor, and take on that job. Take it on. Don't be afraid and say, oh, you know what, we haven't learned it yet. Or, you know what, that's a little bit too advanced for me. I can do a traditional full highlight. Instead of doing that, say absolutely, you know what, I'm still in school, which they know. I'm still in school, but I would love the challenge. And if you're up for letting me practice on you, I would be honored to. Like, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to learn. Take it, take the risk, you know, take the challenge and go for it. Now is the time to perfect and to learn. Now is the time to perfect and to learn different techniques. And honestly, you learn through your mistakes. I had one client where I did a highlight on her. She was a little bit brassy in some areas, and so I put a straight ash on her, which I hadn't learned that porosity of the hair, that if the hair is very porous, then it is going to over grab the ash and it would possibly turn green. And so while I'm sitting here thinking that this hair is orange, I need to put an ash on it to cancel out that tone, I also didn't take into consideration that her hair was very, very compromised and porous, and it could possibly just grab onto the blue and turn green. Maybe I could have done an NA. Maybe I could have just done an N. And the hair, since it was so porous, would have, you know, grabbed the ash first, but it wouldn't have been so powerful that it turned it green. It could have just possibly, you know, did what it was supposed to do, correct the tone, and then balance it with the neutral. So these are the things that I would have not known had I not taken the chance and, you know, been up for the challenge. I wouldn't have learned through that, but now that I saw it with my eye and I was able to connect the dots, okay, maybe it turned green because it was, you know, porous, or maybe I should have used, you get what I'm saying. You get what I'm saying. But like I said, this is the time to learn through your mistakes and make sure that you are giving 100% in everything that you do. Another tip I have for you is to start now building your online social media presence. The social media world has completely changed the beauty industry and the cosmetology industry. Now is the time to get your work out there. People nowadays like to look at your work before they book you. I'm telling you, even with myself, I would Google I would Facebook salons, type in the salon name, I would go through their images, I would see their work before I even contacted them. I would also ask others before I would book them as well. Word of mouth is huge, but so is social media presence. So when you start building your online presence, showing people your work, finding your own branding, which is really, really important as well. Marketing is a huge thing when you're a cosmetologist and you're wanting to grow your clientele or just to even start your career and maintain it. Marketing is huge. I highly, highly, highly recommend you find something that you can brand yourself with, whether it's your name, whether it's a quote, whether it's an image. Find something that suits you and fits you and get a logo. Hire a graphic designer. Go on Etsy. Get a template. They're like $5, $10, $25. Get something to where you can brand yourself and your work with, and start a new Instagram that is strictly for your work and your cosmetology school experience. Also a Facebook page. Start a Facebook business page where people can go to and see all of your work. And when I mean work, I mean like your images, the work that you've done, your hair, your makeup, whatever you're doing, whatever your expertise is. Start featuring that. And it's almost like a little online portfolio. This is very, very important, not just for you to grow your clientele, but whenever you start reaching out to salons to get hired, they are going to look you up on social media. Let it be professional. Go ahead and have a Facebook page. Whenever you do introduce yourself to them, you can say, hey, my Facebook page is Morgan Lee Tay. I have tons of my work on there. Or hey, my Instagram is MLT Styles. I feature my work on there as well. Feel free to go ahead and check that out. I would be honored for you to give it a look, whatever. This is so important. Like I said, not just for growing your clientele, but also for your future employers. Which also brings me to the tip of take before and after pictures. This is huge. I am known at school for the before and after picture queen. Like, they ask me, oh, did you get a before picture? I'm like, of course I did, you know it. This is huge. People like to see transformations, and I think that people need to see them so they can see what all you've actually been doing and learning. A lot of times when you see an after picture, it's like, oh my God, that's beautiful. But to really appreciate it, show the before. You want to see the before. See where you came from. Hair is so complex, but it is a true art. And when you have a before picture and say, you know what, this is what I started with and this is what I did, it is absolutely amazing, but it's also awesome for you to see what you have done. It's very, very rewarding. And you can get discouraged sometimes. Like, gosh, did I really do, did I do a good job? Yada, yada, yada. Because you've been working on their hair all day. Like, you've honestly forgot what their before looked like. So whenever you go back and you scroll and you're like, holy moly, I truly just did a miracle. You know what I mean? So before and after pictures are great to feature on your Instagram, on your Facebook, on your personal Facebook. Go ahead and convert some of your friends and family over to your business page. It's great for growing your clientele, and so people can visually see what you've been learning and what you've been doing. But it's also good for yourself, so you can see what you started with and what you ended with. Or maybe have the before picture, and whenever you grow as a cosmetology student or you grow as a stylist, you'll be able to look back on that before and say, well, now I did this, but now I know I could have also done this and it would have given me this result. Or I could have used this technique on her and it could have done this. So you can use your befores as like a color correction guide or template, I guess you'd say, and come up with different scenarios on how you would change the hair or come up with a different result that the client wants. So now if you have a before picture of a really grown out highlight and what you actually did was you went in and did foils and baby lights and you kind of broke it up a little bit, you broke up the base and you just added more blonde into it. Now it's blended. There's not so much of a harsh new growth line. It just looks like a really pretty highlight. Well, now what if the client came in and said, I think I want to go red. So then now it's a color correction, right? Or maybe she's red and she wants to go back blonde. So all of these before pictures can actually give you like a color correction scenario that you can play out and pick different results and see what you would do or what you could do. And if you don't know, ask your instructor. Like I said, now's the time to ask all the questions and make all the mistakes and learn from them. Another tip I have is to start looking into salons now. When I say that a year of cosmetology goes by like this, I'm not kidding, it goes by like this. I went from a point where I was like, I have time, I can research salons later, I'll start talking and reaching out later, to holy crap, I'm almost done. What am I gonna do? Panic sets in, you realize that there really is no time, and you also find out that salons actually like to hire new stylists. I'm going to be doing a video in the future on the different routes you can take as a new stylist, as a new cosmetologist, and what you would possibly want to know as a cosmetology student, because these are all questions that I've been having, that I've been asking tons of people for advice for. So I'm going to be coming out with a video of that, so stay tuned. But start researching salons in your area now. Schedule an appointment, go get a blowout, go get a haircut, something inexpensive, maybe even an eyebrow waxing. See the culture, see the vibe, see how the stylists and cosmetologists that are already working there interact with you. Are they friendly? Do they just look at you and they're like, or do they say, hi, how are you? With them not even knowing that you're interested in working at their salon. You need to be doing these things. You need to find a place that fits you as a stylist that could possibly be working there. What about their attire? How are the stylists interacting with each other, not just you? Are they being helpful, snooty, whatever? It's very, very important for you to go get the vibe and the culture. Like, as for me, as much as I love fashion colors on other people, fashion colors really aren't my passion. I love blonding, balayage, highlighting, formulating, updos. So I'm probably not going to go work in a salon that is notoriously known for just doing fashion colors and funky hairstyles, like really cool trendy stuff. Like, that may not be for me. But if on social media I'm like, hey, I think I want to work there, and I go in and I find out that predominantly that's what they do, it might not be for me. So why would I waste my time applying there? So this is what I mean by going and seeing the culture, the atmosphere, what the salon specializes in. Does that coincide with your interest in your specialty as well. And I know as a student, we don't really have like major skills, but you as a student know what you're advanced in and what you're not advanced in and what you need to work on, or what you're interested in. Not necessarily just advanced, but maybe you're really, really, really good at perms, but you may not want to be doing perms. You may be interested in something completely different. So this is what I mean by going in, start researching now, because there are a ton of salons wherever you live. In your radius of cities or whatever that you've set for yourself, there are hundreds. So you need to put it in your budget to get a blowout soon, okay? Start making appointments and start researching salons too. Another tip I have is that at some point in your cosmetology journey, you may be feeling as if you haven't learned much. And an analogy that was given to me really made me think, and it kind of opened my eyes as to what cosmetology school really is. Cosmetology school is like high school. Your first year of cosmetology in the real world is like college. Maybe even 2 years is like college, and then on after that is your career. Cosmetology school is, you're not going to be an expert. You're not going to be the best stylist in your city. If anything, you're going to walk out of there maybe learning a lot, maybe feeling confident in some things, but you'll get checked real quick whenever you start in a salon. And that was one thing that I didn't realize whenever I started cosmetology school. I just assumed that I was gonna just get it and know everything, and I'm not saying that because I think that I'm awesome and I'm just amazing or whatever. I'm saying that I didn't realize how freaking hard hair is and how complex, and how there's thousands of ways to do something, and you can get 15,000 different results, or maybe you can get the same results doing it 15 different ways. You learn one way in school, and that's the way that your instructor teaches you and the way that State Board is going to test you. So you have a lot to learn when you get out. And like I said, I made the mistake of not realizing that. I thought that I was just going to go right into booth rent whenever I got out of school, and about a month into cosmetology I was like, heck no, I ain't doing booth rent. And I'll talk to you a little bit about what booth rent is in another video. But the reason for me saying this is to say, you learn one way in school, and it's not a bad thing for you to seek information elsewhere while you're in school. You don't have to wait until you get out. And what I've been doing since I started cosmetology school is watching video after video after video. And I'm not talking you can be a cosmetologist on YouTube. I'm talking actual hairstylist educators from Redken, Goldwell, Schwarzkopf, I think that's how you say it. All of these brands, they have educators for different color lines, and they'll post videos on YouTube. I spend every single day watching different techniques of foiling highlights, watching color correction videos, how to do updos, different makeup techniques, different foliage techniques, color remover, like everything you could possibly think of. I will dive into and watch for hours upon hours. I'll listen to podcasts. I will go to different brands' websites, sign up for their free education, courses, ebooks, all of that. I'm 100% in it, okay? So don't be afraid and don't be scared that you're not allowed to do that, because that has set me apart from other cosmetology students, not because I just get information from the book or I pick it up immediately whenever our instructor teaches it, but I devote so much time in education outside of school and learning different things, to where I can go in with my client whenever my client comes in on practical day, and I present my teacher with okay, instead of her telling me what to do, I like to tell her what I think I should do. So instead of her saying, okay, she wants this, do this, this, and this, which cosmetology school on practical and clinical days is kind of controlled like that, I have an awesome instructor where she allows me to say, I think I should do this, this, and this. And while she's processing with her highlights, can I go ahead and tone or formulate or do lowlights on other areas while that's processing to speed this time, like to speed this up? And she's like, oh yeah, absolutely. I learned that because of the extra education I was telling myself and allowing myself to get outside of school. So, and I mean outside of school as in like when I got home, before I went in, listening to podcasts in my car, you know, on the weekends, like this is the kind of stuff that I would dive into and devote my time to. So don't be afraid to do that, and don't be afraid to start a group with your cosmetology students, your fellow cosmetology students, and have it to where it's literally just for y'all sharing extra resources and education and maybe cool Instagrams that you find. We recently did that as a cosmetology class. We have a couple of friends in a group, and if somebody finds something really cool, whether it's on like a pulpriothair.com or it's a cool YouTube video that I found, we will share it and share those extra tips and different techniques with each other, so we can kind of learn together. Like I said, there is so much more to hair than just what your cosmetology instructor teaches, what the book teaches. So I love finding that education, and when you share it with your fellow students, like how awesome is that? Like you can literally just feed off of each other and teach each other different techniques. Everybody has something they can offer you, and you have something you can offer others. I'm really good at updos and highlights. One of my other girlfriends, she is awesome at like color melts and fashion colors and nails. Like she has stuff that she can teach me, and I have stuff that I can teach her. Even though we're students, we can still learn together and offer things to each other. And if you develop that habit in school, I promise you it's going to be awesome when you get in the real world and you can develop those relationships with your coworkers, and you already have the willingness and the heart to give and to teach others and to say like, hey, like let's do this together. So that is just a few of my cosmetology school tips that I have for you. I hope you enjoyed this video, and please stay tuned for my next video. I'm going to be sharing with you some of the different routes you can take once you graduate cosmetology school from a student's perspective. So I'm not saying like I have it all together, I already got a job, I know exactly all there is to it, but kind of coming from a student who has been having these questions, researching day on day on day of what routes that I can take and what options I have, and asking different cosmetologists their opinion has really opened my eyes, and I think that it would be valuable for you as a cosmetology student or soon to be cosmetology student as well. So I hope y'all have a blessed day and stay tuned. Bye.